Hey, all right, it's Matt, Blind Guy's Garage. So today, we are in the shop working on a freaking transfer case out of a Ram 3500. This should be a fairly simple project. We're just gonna knock it out real quick. This is for a friend of mine. So here she is. Transfer case, 241 DHD, or DHD, that's right. 241 DHD, no, 242 DHD. I don't remember. I'll get you the exact number in a minute. But we're going to get it apart, and what we're doing is we're converting it from a manual, from an automatic transfer case to a manual transfer case. So here's all the parts we're going to need right here. No, where'd I put them? Here they are. Here's the output shaft, the input shaft. This should be the only thing we actually really need to convert the thing. But we went ahead and bought a bunch of bearings and gaskets for it. Here they are. Bearings, gaskets, blah, 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 you name it, I've got it right here. So, there you go, you open the box. There's the center plate gasket, and then just a bunch more gaskets right here. And then all the bearings, and bearings, and bearings, and bearings, and bearings. And then you got all these little plastic doodad clip thingies here for the tracks and all. So, we'll get this thing taken apart. And, get it put back together. So we're gonna go put it in this truck. I don't know if I'll video putting it in the truck or not, because that'll probably be at his house. So we'll see. All right, so we'll start by trying to get this tail shaft housing off. If I recall correctly, it's been a while since I've done one of these. There's a snap ring in here under a rubber grommet that you have to get out, but we're gonna attempt to do it without it to start with. If somebody's been in here, they may have not put it back, or yeah, you know, you never know. Thinking there's no telling how much fluids in this tea case. So, having said that, giant cookie sheet or oil pan drip tray, whatever. I used to use it under the Camaro back when it had turbo 350 and the trans always leaked. So let's get back to tearing it apart. Alright, housing. Alright, housing is off. It's just got a giant snap ring in here that, if you ever wanted to know, all you do is you slide your snap ring plier in here and separate it, and then lift straight up, and this whole output housing will slide right off. Come on then. There it goes. Now, the hard part is make sure it doesn't go flying across the shop when you walk it out of its little groove here, because they will. There it goes. Okay. Got the tension released off of, oh, there's a spring behind it. All right, that's good to know. Wish I would have known that before. Get that and hit myself in the face. Okay, so now pull this off. Snap ring. There's a, is it not spring loaded? Why did it do what it did? All right, so now you take this off. And there's our input shaft. Got a little roller bearing inside there. It's got some teeth inside here. Same thing on this side, roller bearing teeth. Got the planetary thing going on in there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this input shaft to the side right here, and we're gonna find the new input shaft. So I'm gonna go wash my hands for a minute, and I'll bring you back. So now we're as disassembled as we should have to get. We still have a couple bearings to replace. We'll replace this bearing here. Probably won't pull this one out, we'll just leave it. And as far as these go, we got a bearing here and there, so we'll replace a couple of these bearings. Check all these in the little planetary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those feel good. And then we'll put it all back together. Bring it back in a minute. All right, so now we're over here on the press. What we're gonna do is, here's our new input shaft. This bearing here has got to be pressed in place. So we're gonna press it in right here. So set this guy in here, and we'll use a socket to slide down in the center of that bearing. And we'll give this thing a few pumps. Pump's not moving. Try again. This time, I'm going to tighten up the dang pump first. All right, now it should just press right in. We're gonna stop right there. All right, well, while I was pressing, and I think somewhere about the time I said, and now we'll stop and check it, the camera died. So here we are. I come over here and swap the battery on the camera. So this is the bearing we were pressing in right here. And I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna take a measurement on the old one to see where it was sitting at, but I think we're ready to put it back together now. So we'll start putting things in. We'll have to get a new bearing for this and install it on the ring here. I don't know if it's in the case or what, but we'll get it installed and we'll put it all back together. So bring it back as we start doing something. I'll probably go ahead and clean this stuff up and probably put new gaskets in before I bring the camera back. So we'll just basically be right back to assembling. So bring it back in a minute. All right, now we're back. I got a phone call right as I started videoing, so I shut the video off. All I've done is I've put the planetary back in with the manual trans output shaft on the end right here. So that's it. We're just gonna make sure that we put this back together later. So I'm done on this end. I'll put it back together. Well, I might as well go ahead and put it back together now. No, I won't, because I need silicone and stuff. So I'm gonna clean that up real good, and I'll do it last. Because it's got to be cleaned up really well. And yeah, so now what we got to do is I got to flip this. I'll get me a razor blade. I'll clean this case up really good before I put the rest of the gears in here. It's actually not bad as it is. So we'll get back on it. All right, well, I'm gonna call it an evening for the time being, but I just figured this thing out. I'm a dumbass. I took it apart incorrectly. I didn't do it wrong, but I did it wrong. When I lifted up on the pump here and it let everything move, it let the oil pump slide past. This is just sitting here, it's not bolted together. It let the oil pump slide past, so popping off this ring here and sliding out. So then when I went to put it back together, I couldn't get it back together, which is not that big of a deal. It's glad that we found out now. So you have to take all this stuff off here. You gotta take the nylon gear off of there, you gotta take the bearing off of there, and all them snap rings and all that. And me and snap rings have never got along. I need to actually get a tool for snap rings. I have C-clip tools and snap ring pliers, but not that particular type of snap ring pliers. Or maybe they don't make them. I don't know. I've just never had luck with them. So bring it back tomorrow and we'll get it all finished up. Also, I need silicone, so I can't really finish it up anyway. I just was trying to mock everything up and understand how it worked. And now I understand. So bring it back in the morning. Hey, it's Matt. We're back. So we went and got some silicone. We're gonna use Ultra Gray this time. A little bit of brake clean. We're gonna wipe off the face of this guy and get it back together. So now I'm going to take and make a nice bead of silicone, which when I say bead, I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to smear it because that's how I do this. I'll lay it nice and thick. So here we go. All right, well, got the case cover on, got the oil pump almost installed. So now all I gotta have to do is get the drive section and all and put it in there. It's not that big of a deal. And then there'll be screws. The reason why I did it this way is because I don't, because honestly I don't understand how it goes together without doing it this way. I'm sure there's some way that's real easy and it makes sense to somebody, but it doesn't make sense to me. So this is how I did it. So sue me. So having said all that, I probably didn't have to take all this apart. I could have left all this together. Is what it is. So here we go. That's that. We'll let that dry up. We gotta get the seal into this guy over here. It's been a pain in the keister bombs. So we'll see what we're gonna do about that. Not sure how I'm gonna make that work yet. Bring it back a bit. All right, so now we've got the oil pump installed. It's sitting in place where it belongs. All that's left is to put all these snap rings and stuff back on here. So you start with a snap ring, which I've been a couple of them, so we're gonna hope that we didn't screw them up too bad. So you start by sliding him over the lip right here, and all right, well, we got the T-case together. It's the next day. This little snap ring right here is a real big pain in the butt to get the way it's shaped, and I figured y'all didn't want to watch me struggle with it. I got mad last night, went and ate dinner, and called it a night. So I'm gonna put the speed sensor in, one bolt, and the T-case is done. So that's it. I may or may not take the camera with me for today's events. We're gonna go put it in the truck today. Hope y'all have a good one.